Pretty unusual day today. I got the fog rolling in, and it kind of reminds me of a glacier that you might see in Alaska or something like that. Pretty wild.
So here we've paddled into the fog. When you go ocean kayak fishing, you should always assume that you may have to deal with fog. And fog is a real game changer. As soon as you lose sight of land or any kind of feature, you might get yourself in trouble. So always make sure you have some kind of navigational aid, whether it's built into the fish finder or a handheld GPS. And here I'm experimenting with a homemade beacon, a PVC pipe, and a bicycle taillight. Beyond that, I would strongly recommend keeping your party within sight at all times, because in fog, once you get disconnected, it'll be really hard to reconnect. It's kind of like playing Marco Polo, except everyone is Marco. Okay, enough Safety Sally lectures, let's go fishing. So as I mentioned before, you don't want to really waste a lot of time fishing unproductive areas. So in this example, yeah, there are some fish arches, but there's nothing really here to hold the fish. There's no structure, there's no bait fish. And so these fish are kind of like in a nomadic transitory state. And so by the time you drop down, they might be gone. So I'm going to describe underwater scenes as paintings, and this is the kind of painting that's going to make me put it in reverse and drop down. So you see a lot of kind of like heavy red paint, and I think what this painting is describing is bait fish. And of course, whenever you find bait fish, about 90% of the time you are going to find the fish that love them. Now, I fish a Garmin unit, so what you're seeing here may not translate to your Lowrance or Humminbird unit. But generally speaking, when you see a thick amorphous cloud, that generally means bait fish. So here's the painting being drawn in real time. We're in shallow water, so this is probably a 2-ounce mini erratic falling jig. Now, in the footage, you're going to see a lot of near misses and fish becoming unbuttoned. And that's because I use this rig to catch bait fish, small mackerel, whatnot. And what I've done is I've crushed the barbs so that once I catch the bait fish, I can remove them from the hook without completely mangling them. But the drawback is my batting average is going to suffer. So if you're using barbless hooks, you have to be super vigilant, super attentive. Your hand has to be on the reel handle at all times. And really, any hint of slack and the fish is going to pop off. So I get picked up here and I'm thinking mackerel, but this fish is a little bit stronger than a mackerel. And it's a bonito. Really fun and pretty fish. Now this next painting depicts a scene where there's a little bit of structure kind of like oriented toward the bottom, and then you have some splatter, kind of like the artist is standing away from the canvas with a paintbrush and just kind of snapping his or her wrist. And here it is in real time. Flashes of paint like that on the screen. This is Calico country. Now calicos typically kind of relate to structure, But when they're in the mood and they're hungry, they will actively feed up and down the water column. This one picked up the lure almost at the surface. Now this painting has kind of like the same splatter pattern, but there's more red, which typically indicates a little bigger fish. It's a schoolish kind of a fish, but they're not really synchronized. It's more chaotic. And the presence of the fish arches in the lower left-hand corner tells me that this is a pretty active fish laterally. Typically, when you have fish that are active and quickly moving laterally, that's when you will get the classic fish arches. And it looks like they're chasing and dispersing some bait fish around maybe. So you have a situation here where there isn't a lot of structure, but something is holding these fish mid-column. And it's going to turn out to be a foul-hooked schoolie barracuda. Okay, that's it for now. I'm going to leave you with some footage of the Redondo Beach Glacier. And I'm probably going to be coming back at you pretty soon with maybe a lobster hooping video. Thanks again for dropping by, and good luck out there.